Okay, so I figured I would start the video with a little bit of cleaning first without any talking because I know some people just kind of like to see the vacuum cleaner run and it's not necessarily that they ever plan on getting one or um, they really are interested in this specific machine. Sometimes people just like hearing and seeing a vacuum cleaner go, so I figured I would do something like that. Unfortunately, right as I stopped the video and I heard something when I reclined the handle back, I found this on the floor behind the vacuum. Trying to flip it over here. So I don't really know what this is. I took the bottom plate off. Everything seems fine. I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point, but when I reclined the machine, I heard it, and I don't really know what it's from. And I have a feeling that it might be the something maybe inside or the underneath. Not really sure, but the belt will stop when I put it in the upright position, and it will engage when I put it back down, and the clutch seems fine, so I don't really know what that might be. Maybe it's just like a cover piece for something that's not super important. So I figured I would do a quick cleaning with it first and then do a little bit of talking. I actually did a video, like a one-on-one, but still I can't flip my camera's lens when I pause a video. And I don't want to make two videos and try and kind of merge them together. So this is the second best thing. So this is my new cr99. You heard that I do have a new belt in it, though it sounds like it already needs replaced because it chirps. This is a deep pile carpet, and it's probably one of the #1 machines that really gets deep down into the pile. At least it feels that way. You can see the really sharp lines from the cleaning. You can't see them really right here because I went in the same direction. Otherwise, there would be a darker and a lighter pass. But this, I think, does that because it has a rubber squeegee on the bottom, and it also has strong suction. So I think that the suction combined with the airflow and the squeegee on the bottom, it pulls it down to the carpet further, and the squeegee almost acts like a lawn striper, but for your carpet. No, that's not what it's for. That's not what I'm saying that a squeegee on the bottom of a vacuum is for. I'm just saying that because the squeegee is kind of long, I really do think that it drags the carpet and stands it up, because the purpose of the squeegee is for bare floor cleaning, so things don't get kicked back, or even on a low pile carpet. So it's got to be at least making contact with the surface. Definitely on a carpet, it's probably dragging the carpet. So overall, I really do like this vacuum cleaner a lot. It's been one of the #1 go-to and reach for machines. I got new belts for it. The belts that I got do not advertise the cr99. It actually has the older version. I believe it's the 8.9 or something like that. It doesn't have the hose hook on the top of the handle. It's essentially the same machine. It has the adjustable suction. I'm not sure if it's considered or it's called the Performance Pet. It probably is, but this is the more updated, though it looks basically identical. So now, no, does that mean that the belts don't fit this one? No, because all of the Cirrus belts fit the same machine, or all the Cirrus machines have the same belt, I guess I should say. So that's not a concern, but I don't know when they stopped making that previous generation and started making this one with this model number. So it could be that those belts were old, and that could be part of the reason that this thing is going through belts so fast. Though I did ask for some others' opinions about the belts and if I should try changing the belt that I'm using or trying a different version, because so many people say that the parts on this are basically interchangeable with the Riccar and Simplicity machines, or maybe Panasonic or something. So they said that, I think they mentioned a Panasonic belt that you could use that might last a little bit longer. But because these machines have an automatic height adjustment, I think the biggest problem is they're not as automatic as they come off to be. If the carpet isn't really dense, or the weight of the machine is able to still kind of sink the front of the vacuum in, or the suction's on too high, and it's pulling itself down in, I think that that is kind of making the belt have too much contact, and it slows it down, and the motor is so strong that the belt is kind of the middleman between the brush roll and the motor, so it just provides the slip, which is good because it's not burning up anything except for the cheap replaceable belt, and they are easy to replace, but it kind of gives this really annoying chirping, squeaking sound, and you could probably hear that in the video. It doesn't affect the cleaning performance, but unfortunately, even if I turn the suction down a little bit, all that's going to do is also lower the brush roll speed, and I think that I'm going to be in the same position. There's really no easy way to do it, and unfortunately, because of the adjustable suction on the front, the electronic control, this only has a flap on the back. There's no slide adjustment piece on the back here, so you basically just kind of have to deal with it. It's not a big deal though, but I do try and buy the genuine belts, and they take a little bit of time to get here, and quite honestly, it started to squeak the second use. I think maybe even I heard it a little bit after the first use. So the belt is fine, it's just annoying to hear, and it is basically my carpet's fault. It is an older style vacuum cleaner, and these carpets, these newer, denser carpets, they are not very friendly to vacuum cleaner belts. So the other things that I wanted to point out about this is it's very nicely made. Every time I go and reach for this machine after I've even used something like my Royal or Kirby, it has a really nice solid feel. When you put it up in the upright position, it just locks in and stays there. When you pick it up, the whole thing comes off the ground. It doesn't have any play in the reclining mechanism. It could fade over time, but a lot of machines do that right out of the box. So this is definitely not a cheap machine. The other few things with this, I was looking to see maybe if that metal piece came off of here, but I believe I already asked a question like that before. The tools are nice on it for what they are. The upholstery tool, this one, it doesn't have any brushes on it. I prefer to use a brushed upholstery tool now just because our couches are microfiber and they don't allow a lot of air to flow through them. And to be able to get hairs and things off the couch, straight suction alone just isn't going to cut it. The dusting brush is kind of small. You can see I've obviously used it, and I've actually used that to clean the upholstery in some spots too. The crevice tool, same story, kind of short and stubby. It's got a nice chisel to it, and you can see it has like that curved up end, so when you do set it down on something, it won't completely restrict the airflow. This extension wand, I don't think I've ever used this, just because I don't need to reach up that high. And the wand is also a really nice part on this vacuum. You do have to make sure that you set it into the vacuum, or its holder, with the telescopic button in, because if you try and do it this way, you see it's not going to do anything. It'll just probably break it if you try and force that to go down in there. The wand has a nice material to it. And this handle I really like too. It's simple, it's comfortable, but if you want to use it to get into like a smaller area, when you see a vacuum like the Sebo or even the Miele S7, Sebo I guess doesn't really count because it's attached to the wand. This of course disconnects, and the Miele has like almost like a handle, like the upright handle for the main part of the vacuum. And I've said this in some of my other videos before. Sometimes the cleaning handle for the hose is too cumbersome. It's designed to be comfortable and look like it's well designed, but what it ends up doing is it's overly complicated and it makes it hard to get into tight areas. So now you need to rely on like an extension tube, even though you don't need one. So I like how simple this is, especially if you're going to clean out your car or something like that, and you don't have the extension kit. It's comfortable to use, but it can also fit in a tight area because it's not like this obnoxious handle. The handle also swivels here too, and it swivels, of course, on the back of the vacuum like that. So you're really never going to get this twisted up when you're using it, which is also nice when there's maybe suction recoil. You can see I can twist this around, and the hose isn't twisting, it's just the handle portion that twists independently from the hose. I do really like that. I would imagine that this is a universal hose across all the Cirrus upright vacuums. It's not significant to just my model. Now I can't get this to go down in here. I'm going to pause that. And we're back. So that was just a slight mishap on my part. This nice turbo brush over here, I like it. It's got a great design. I like the little rubber grabbers for the hair, and it does slide up. It's hard to do with one hand, but you can slide it up, and what it allows you to do is clean risers, I believe, or maybe it's can't remember if it's for risers or it's actually just to take those rubber pieces off, or you can slide it back over and you can use it with the rubber pieces or the little rubber grabbers. And I leave it on the rubber grabbers just because it continues to let the air flow through, but the rubber grabbers do a great job at picking up the hair. The only problem is there are 2 airflow vents right here on the bottom, and when they're closed, this thing spins so much faster. Even when you put it onto a surface, it still spins so much faster. When you put it on the end of the hose, it's actually kind of a really tight fit. It takes a little bit to get it onto this, just the gray handle, not the telescopic wand. I've never used it on that before. When you first turn it on full suction, it feels like the vacuum isn't on full suction because it's not spinning that fast. So if you put your fingers over those holes, it will spin faster, and it doesn't bog down as long as you're using this, which keeps it elevated off the surface that you're cleaning. So maybe I'll put some tape over that just because I think that it really affects the cleaning performance. It's letting too much air in, and it's kind of a drag. Now, I've never taken this cover off before, and I don't plan to, but it is a replaceable HEPA filter. Most of the stuff you guys already know. And it has rubber non-marring wheels, a metal brush roll. We'll take a look at that on the bottom of the vacuum, of course. Where else would it be? And it does grab a little bit of hair every once in a while. It's nothing major. You can see when it's in the upright position, it can spin freely. And these are your easy quick access pieces on the bottom of the vacuum to be able to remove that. But this is that rubber squeegee I was telling you about. You can see it's a big rubber squeegee, and I think that this plays quite a role in making the lines really stand out because you can feel it. It is kind of hard to push on the carpet, and the cleaning port is not super large. And of course, it's all the way off onto the one side, which is because that's the general design of these machines, and the opposite side, a lot of room is taken up by the brush roll drive with your belt and the clutch assembly. Fingertip controls on the top. It's a nice solid switch. It's got a little bit of texture to it. And you can hear it goes down to a really nice, quiet sound level. A couple of problems, though, that I have noticed with it. With the lower suction, which is great for cleaning hard floors, you would think, because you're reducing the suction pretty low, I have noticed that it doesn't always pick up things when you run over it. It probably depends on how you went about running it over, but if you don't try and at least get as close to this side of the vacuum as you can when you have it on a lower suction, cleaning hard floors, then you're probably not going to pick it up, at least on the first try, especially if you're going up like next to it or trying to do some edge cleaning. It's probably not going to pick it up. It's especially not going to pick it up on the side that the brush roll drive or the belt is on. But I've noticed that if I have it on too high of a cleaning or a suction or too high speed, the air from the side exhausts out and it will blow things around like dust bunnies and probably blow stuff back over to where you just vacuumed, or even exhaust or blow things out from areas that you didn't even know were dirty, and then now there will be some dust bunnies tumbling around on the floor and stuff. So usually if I'm vacuuming, I'll vacuum into the room with the blower or the exhaust side directing towards where I've already vacuumed, rather than the visible stuff getting blown around before I got there. So it's not the most user-friendly to use with the brush roll on-off. If you want to use it for hard floors, I would recommend getting the extension kit, but that altogether may make you not want the vacuum if you don't want to use it as a canister and you just want to use it as is. So, but again, depending on how your home is set up, or depending on what suction setting, I would say the best would be probably in between, but you're still going to get quite a bit of exhausting air out of the vacuum. And other than that, though, I'm happy that I have it. It was a machine that I've been waiting to buy for quite some time, but at the right price, because I wasn't going to spend $500 on one of these things brand new. But now that I do have it, I love the vacuum. I wouldn't get rid of it. But now that I have it, it's just kind of getting to that point where as I'm adding more and more vacuum cleaners, which is more of just because I look at it, I think that it might clean really well. Of course, I don't just go off into Walmart and buy something off the shelf. But after I get it home, it's just like, I probably could have lived without it. Even though I do really like it a lot, I didn't necessarily need it. It wasn't, like I was going to throw a fit or something. I'm glad that I didn't pass up on the opportunity because now I know how it performs and I'm going to keep it for sure. But it would be nice if you could try something for an extended period of time to see if you really wanted to keep it in there. It is a great performer. It is a great machine. It has a lot of great features that make you be able to use it on multiple surfaces. I think it's a great sole vacuum cleaner to use rather than owning multiple. This could be like your one and only. But again, it's just almost to me like there's not a whole lot that's special about it, though it does have the electronic speed control. It just kind of feels like a traditional upright vacuum. So that's just my opinion about it. Other people may feel differently. And I guess what I'll do now is I'll do the whole carpet, but I won't be holding on to the camera. So to try and give everybody a little bit of what they want, a silent use, a review, and then maybe just a general carpet cleaning. Now there's one thing that I did want to mention before I finish this video is, you can see it does an excellent job with grooming the carpet. This is probably some of the best lines that I've gotten from a vacuum. One thing that I did want to mention was, I think because of the fact that it has a lot of power, the brush roll spins really fast, and it does have an uneven distribution of airflow and suction, there are times where it will miss things on the carpet. It's still a great vacuum. A lot of people would probably say, well, if it can't clean everything up in one pass, it does. It does a really great job with deep cleaning, but there are times where I'll notice that I'll run over the same area again and I'll hear more stuff being picked up. And maybe the brush will spin so fast and it can't suck it up before it gets caught in a brush and then gets put back onto the ground. So that's just kind of like my final thoughts about it. And I'm really liking the vacuum so far. It's done a great job, except for that little piece that broke off. Hopefully it's nothing super important. And thanks for watching my video, and ask any questions that you may have.